Hi everyone! In this video, we'll be looking at topping and fimming, two popular pruning techniques. I will show you how to execute these methods, as well as how the plants react. Strategic pruning can help us to shape our plants in a way that will allow us to get bigger and better harvests. I'll be demonstrating topping and fimming on these young pepper plants, but we would see the same results with a wide variety of plants. I also use these methods to help me shape my cannabis, basil, and rosemary plants, all of which have a similar node structure to their stems and leaves. If we imagine this was the stem of a plant, the first node would grow out with 2 leaves and then put out 2 stems, maybe going left and right. The next node up would also put out leaves and then put out 2 stems going forward and backward, the next node left and right, etc. So let's get into these peppers. We can see a clean main stem here, which will continue to grow straight up if it's left alone. I'll be topping this first plant, and to do that, I'm looking up near the top of the main stem, finding a spot at least a few nodes up. It looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so spots left down below our cut site here. These are all spots from which branches will emerge. I'm bringing my shears in towards this main stem, pressing it down against this leaf at the node that I've chosen, and cutting across that main stem. We're also going to top this second plant, finding a node up high, getting in tight with our shears, and cutting across the main stem. Quick and easy. With our third plant, we will try fimming, which is very similar to topping from an execution standpoint. And the concept of the fim is to make our cut a little bit higher than we would if topping. Once again, we're going to find a high node, but I'm not going to get too deep in there with the shears. I'm leaving a bit of space and stem between that highest leaf and where I make my cut. We can see that a bit of stem remains up above that final leaf node. We'll do the same to our fourth plant, sliding in high and trying to fim it. Once again, we've got some stem here up above the final leaf, which is what we want to see. In comparison, here's a plant that we topped. You can see a crisp cut exactly where that last leaf emerges. There's no stem continuing up above. And so that's the process. It doesn't take long. From here, we need to let our plants grow, and we'll check back in to see the results of these two pruning methods. We rejoin these plants 8 days after we made our cuts. All of the plants are showing great growth. Let's zoom in here on a plant which was topped. We can see that the plant is working to grow a bunch of branches out of that original stem. When we cut the primary stem, the plant shifts its energy into growing these secondary branches. Our original stem sort of just ends, and our side branches are now working to reach up and form the canopy of this plant. This is our second topped plant, and we see a similar story. A lot of new growth and leaves coming out of these small side branches. Next up, we have a fimmed plant. Down low, we see similar development of the side branches, but these leaves and branches don't appear to be growing quite as fast as they were on the topped plants, but they're clearly here and emerging. As we move up to the top of our primary stem, we see how fimming differs from topping. This fimmed plant appears to be putting out multiple branches up top here. They're tightly clustered so far, so it's a bit difficult to get a read on them. It looks like maybe the plant is splitting into 3 distinct stems here. Very cool to see. Our second fimmed plant appears to have 2 clear stems developing from that fimmed site and is beginning to define some of those lower branches as well. Some more growth brings us to 13 days after we made our cuts, where these differences between our topped and fimmed plants are becoming more and more pronounced. Looking at a topped plant, we can see the continuation of that side branch growth. We could start to guide these branches away from the center trunk of the plant to help it space out. Our second topped plant looks very similar. Great development of the secondary stems. Next up, a fimmed plant. The lower branch sites continue to take shape and develop leaves. As we get to the top of the plant, we've got 2 clear branches emerging on this one, and they're already noding themselves out into multiple directions. The fimming method leaves that bit of growth up top from which multiple stems will typically emerge. Our last plant, also fimmed, developed 3 branches from the fim site, which is really neat. We can see those branches are noting as well, and we've quickly got this plant growing in 6 different directions out from the center of the canopy. This topmost section of a fimmed plant can be a bit unpredictable. In our small trial here, we have examples of 2 and 3 branches emerging. I think we can get even more than that. It's a fun thing to experiment with, whereas topping will produce the exact same output with every plant you do it to. And that's it. Topping and fimming techniques in a nutshell. I've got a full video dedicated to the topic of why I prune and shape my plants and what those benefits are. Pruning is something I was uneasy about early in my gardening endeavors, but now swear by. Be sure to check that video out. Let me know how you shape your plants in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and happy harvesting!